This is another in the series where I just look at a poem and do a first reading. I just enjoy having that experience without having to be a teacher, without having to be right. I could be just as wrong as I am anything else. When I do a first reading, I also don't have to throw it through literary theory. I just enjoy. This one is from Afternoon Visitor. It's a great little journal. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. The website's up here in the web bar. You should be able to see it. I'm going to read this by Doug Paul Case. I don't know Doug Paul Case. Sorry, Doug. With these poems, I just look at them. I don't know anything about them when I get started, so I don't know whether I like it or I dislike it or whatever. I just read it. Obligatory Icarus Poem. Of course, I picked this one. I think pretty clearly because of the Auden poem, because of the William Carlos Williams Icarus poem. I feel almost like the ancient Greeks thrown into poetry become almost cliche, and so this one feels like it's going to play with the cliche by calling it Obligatory Icarus Poem. I hope. I don't really know. I look at the form. It's a pretty short one here. Any more, low, sun, so, any more, sun, low, so, what, mini, search, floating. I always like to look at the form a little bit before I get going. I never know where to look anymore. There's 10, how high to crane my neck, how low. Oh, there's nothing new about the sun. Okay, the line links differ in lines. There's a couple of rhymes at the end, but not enough to really think anything of, so let's just kind of go here and see what happens with it. I never know where to look anymore. It sounds like we are in the presence of a narrator who is a character. I can't tell right off the bat, but just from the sound of it, not just an I as a observer or something. This one is involved in the action. I never know where to look anymore, how high to crane my neck. Is this the narrator is Icarus? I'm not sure yet. How low to look, how high, oh. And there's a play on the classic O that you get in older poems, of course, to play with the rhyme scheme, but there's not being played with here. Oh, there's nothing new about the sun. No, there's nothing new about there being a sun, of course. I'll be long dead when it implodes. This is way more contemporary, of course, than the Icarus. There's a lot of play happening with the idea of now versus then. So, tell me about the splash. What looks like finality but isn't? So it feels like we're not Icarus here, right? Maybe just a watcher on the, I think on the cliff. I always think of the cliff because of Bruegel's painting that Auden talked about in his The Old Masters Were Never Wrong. I just remember the first lines of that one. The watcher, right? So tell me about the splash. What it looks like finality but isn't. Looks like finality but isn't. How the boats they sent out search. So did the person not, this is Icarus not die in the story? It isn't finality but isn't. How the boats sent out to search. How many fathers found floating. The repetition of the F's at the end. Fathers found floating. Plays off it. It's really hard to see in this last image. Fathers found floating. Are we going back to Daedalus at this image? When we think of Icarus falling into the water. And maybe I'm trying to read it too much with the myth in this. I never know where to look anymore. How high to crane my neck? I don't either. I don't know where to look either. How low? Oh, there's nothing new about the sun. There's not. Like, do you look up or down? Where is the mythic anymore? I'll be long dead when it implodes. Yes, the sun doesn't feel that mythic anymore. So tell me about the splash. Tell me about the story, the splash in the story. What it looks like finality, but isn't. How many boats they sent out to search? How many fathers found floating? Well, it's a short little poem. I think I would have to think more about how to read the O in it, sarcasm of obligatory in the beginning. What to make of the fathers found floating at the end. I'm not sure about that image. The fathers found floating, how that relates to specifically this instant. I have to go back and look at the story again to see the myth. I see this variation of Daedalus, but I don't remember this playing into it at all. Alright, short, sweet poem.